Welcome to SBR Forum Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. This is Into the Weekend with BetDSI, the show we do every week with Brent, the headlines manager at DSI Sportsbook, where he tells us a little bit about some of the notable sharp and public action that he's taken over the past week. Right now we're looking ahead to college football week 13. Brent, thanks for being back with us.
Glad to be with you, Peter.
All right, let's start in with Texas A&M, LSU. Huge volume game, right? Huge.
Yeah, no, that's a real big game. There's a couple that are really big. I think we'll probably touch on them later. But yeah, this is one of the big ones right now. LSU sitting as a 5-point favorite at home, total 72.5.
And I would assume that the action on that game is basically split down the middle.
It's not really split down the middle. Our count's probably just like 1.5 maybe times in favor of Texas A&M.
Okay.
There's actually the money's higher than that. Money's about 3, almost 4 to 1 on Texas A&M. But that's not sharp money necessarily, Peter. That's just people with money making some big bets on A&M.
Yep.
Right now, like I said, we're sitting at -5. If you look at the board right now, there's 4.5s out there. There's 5.5. So I mean, not that 5 is a key number or any of that, but there's, like I said, there's 4.5, there's 5.5. There's not like one number across the board. And again, I'm sure most places are probably in a similar situation where most of the public is on Texas A&M, and again, some big money on the A&M as well. That's why the money's greater than, like I said, our count's about 1.5 to 1 on Texas A&M. The money's almost 4 to 1. So it's not necessarily sharp money, just big dollar volume money. And same with the over. They went, they rode the over from 70.5 all the way up to 72.5 where we are right now. Haven't taken anything under yet though.
Right, but in general, the Sharps have not touched that game at all, one way or the other?
No, I got no sharp action on this game at all, no.
All right, and then this is the game that I'm most interested to hear what you have to tell me about. Baylor and Oklahoma State, right? When I previewed this game with the professional handicapper, we thought that, the line seemed suspiciously high. Why should Oklahoma State be this much of a home underdog? And then the line went up from 8.5 to like 9.5 or 10. So my question is, what caused that move?
Well, the money on Baylor -9, 9.5, stuff like that was just, is mostly public money. Again, there's people out there who have money and play it. So you've got to move on it because you don't know if the sharps are going to come in or at what point they're coming in, if they are. The notable action that I did take on this game was Oklahoma State plus 10.5. I also took some pretty big bets on Oklahoma State to win outright on the money line plus 320. Now, our money line is Baylor minus 340 right now, so not a whole lot of value coming back on Oklahoma State at this point. But the Sharps definitely took Oklahoma State plus the 10.5, and no sharp money at all on Baylor.
All right, so there you go. So I guess our initial thoughts on this were correct. The Sharps actually did take, but they didn't bite at 8.5, though. That's kind of interesting. Do you think they suspected that the public would come in on Baylor and just knew that the line would go up a bit and that they'd get a better number if they waited?
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, Baylor's been a public side all year long, so you can kind of anticipate that if you go too low. But again, they're on the road, so you don't want to go too high as well. I mean, they probably would have opened 9.5 in any other case, but it's kind of one of those situations where you just want to feel out where the action's going to come. As soon as it came public money, at the 8.5 and 9 and stuff like that, you still have to move on it because money is money. It's all green, and we take it all. So until the Sharps came back on 10.5, then you kind of got a window where that's where the money's going to be split.
All right, there you go. That's all I really needed to hear. And then Arizona, Oregon is another game that I want to ask you about. Now, we know that the public loves to pound Oregon, every game, almost every game, and sometimes the Sharps do as well. And this line I noticed did go up a bit from 18.5, 19 up to about 20.5 now. I'm assuming the public is all over Oregon here, right?
Yeah, the public's all over them, and I've got respectable money on Oregon as well. It's interesting with this line because I mean, even we're talking on Friday here, and I've got, if you look on the board, there's 18.5s out there, and there's 20s out there. So the money's been kind of all over the place. I've seen people take 21 on Arizona. I've seen Sharps lay 20 on Oregon. So right now, in house here, our money and our count favors Oregon quite substantially, probably about 7 or 8 to 1. And of course, Oregon, Arizona State, they're betting the over crazy as well. So right now, I've got Oregon minus 20 at Arizona with a total of 68. But if I had to say there was sharp money on one side, it would be on Oregon, Peter.
All right, and then just from the rest of the card, what can you tell us about other notable sharp and or public action sides or totals from college football week 13?
Well, the Indiana-Ohio State under, that was a big play from sharp money.
Really?
And we took under money there at 82.5.
Wow.
Now, yeah, I mean, Ohio State's a 35-point favorite at home. A total is now 81, so that total has dropped like 1.5 from 82.5 where the first sharp money came in. Nothing really sharp to note of this Michigan State Northwestern game, but it's been a ton of action. Like on Michigan State -6 and Northwestern +7 was just really, really high volume game, so that's always nice to see. Back to sharp money, under 69.5 in the Florida State game. Now, Florida State is at home to Idaho. The total there is 68.5 now. they were going under 69.5. Florida State's a 56-point favorite, so there's not a whole lot of wiggle room there. So I guess you're basically saying Florida State's going to pitch a shutout, and that might happen. Moving on, Duke at Wake Forest. Duke is a sharp side. Our money's about 4-1 in favor of Duke. The count's about 3-1 as well. They laid 4.5. They laid 4 -20 on Duke. We're running Duke -6 right now. That's Duke at Wake Forest. Total there's 49.5. So that was sharp as well. And let's see, Bowling Green and Eastern Michigan. The under there, the under 56.5, under 55.5 was sharp. I've got no over money. We're sitting at 54.5 right now. And another sharp play is North Texas. They're at home to Texas San Antonio. Sharps laid -7 on North Texas. They laid the money line on North Texas. We're running North Texas -8 now, and absolutely nothing back on Texas San Antonio. And that about covers it.
Very interesting stuff, as always, Brent. Yeah, I was eyeing that Duke line myself. I think I might pull the trigger now. All right, thanks so much. Now let's move on to NFL Week 12.